The disappearance of Natalee Holloway remained unsolved for nearly 2 decades. The 18-year-old from Mountain Brook, Alabama, went missing on May 30, 2005, during a graduation trip to Aruba. Despite an exhaustive search, countless leads, and intense investigation by authorities, private investigators, and true crime enthusiasts, Natalee has never been found, and what happened to her remained a mystery for 19 years. On October 18, 2023, however, Joran van der Sloot, the Dutch national who was the last person seen with Natalee, admitted to killing the Alabama teen after pleading guilty to extortion and wire fraud charges, a lawyer for Natalee's mother Beth said. But despite his confession, it is still unclear if van der Sloot can be prosecuted as the statute of limitations in Aruba is 12 years. Van der Sloot was previously arrested twice in connection with Natalee's disappearance, but he was released both times due to lack of evidence. Van der Sloot is currently in prison for the 2010 murder of 21-year-old Stephanie Flores Ramirez. Natalee's parents, Dave and Beth Holloway, who divorced in 1993, have never given up their quest for justice. Dave chased down leads on the 2017 Oxygen series, The Disappearance of Natalee Holloway, while Beth became a public speaker and advisor to families with missing loved ones. Both wrote books about their situation too. "You have finally admitted that, in fact, you murdered her," Beth reportedly said in her victim impact statement after hearing van der Sloot's confession in October 2023. "You terminated her dreams, her potential, her possibilities, when you bludgeoned her to death in 2005, Beth added, saying that if her daughter had lived, "I have no doubt she would have made all her dreams come true. She really would have." From the last hours she was seen alive to the latest developments in her case. Here is everything to know about Natalee Holloway's disappearance. Born on October 21, 1986 in Tennessee, Natalee was the older child of Dave and Beth Holloway. They also have a younger son, Matthew, born in 1988. Her parents divorced in 1993 when she was just 7 years old, and the Holloway kids were primarily raised by their mother. In 2000, when Beth had married George "Jug" Twitty, the family relocated to Mountain Brook, Alabama, a suburb of Birmingham. Natalee attended Mountain Brook High School, where she was a straight-A student. Her high school resume was impressive. The Alabama teen was a member of the National Honor Society, student government, and the high school dance team. Natalee was also an active volunteer, serving as a peer counselor for the group Natural Helpers and working with the American Field Service, an organization that helps foreign exchange students. Natalee's high school accomplishments led to her receiving a full scholarship to the University of Alabama. She had plans to study pre-med and also hoped to rush a sorority. Natalee and over 100 of her Mountain Brook High School classmates went on a 5-day graduation trip to Aruba in May 2005. Though Dave initially had reservations about the trip, Beth said in 2008 that she had been excited for Natalee, then 18, and the other students to enjoy their tropical vacation. The Mountain Brook students had been there the previous 2 years, even my stepson, the year 2003, Beth said, and there were going to be over 150 plus classmates. So we felt like, there's safety in numbers. But on the morning of May 30th, 2005, the final day of the trip, Beth received a phone call from one of the 7 adult chaperones. It was the call that all mothers and fathers dread, Beth said. Natalee had failed to show up for the group's return flight and was reported missing. "I knew instantly when I received that call that just from Natalee's history and character, and just her record, I knew instantly that she'd either been kidnapped or murdered," Beth said. There was no hesitation. Absolutely none. According to multiple accounts, Natalee had spent the last night of the trip with friends at Carlos and Charlie's, a popular bar and restaurant in Oranjestad, Aruba. After the bar closed, Natalee was last seen at around 1:30 a.m., leaving in a white car with 3 males, who were later identified as Joran van der Sloot, then 17, and brothers Deepak Kalpo, 21, and Satish Kalpo, 19. "I remember seeing Natalee in a white car driving away," Natalee's friend Jessica Kayola said on The Disappearance of Natalee Holloway, the 6-part Oxygen series that aired in 2017. "The window was down so we could see it was her in the back of the car," Kayola continued. "My impression was, oh great, she found a ride back to the hotel." Cayola claimed that van der Sloot was absolutely at Carlos and Charlie's that night and had been hanging around their group throughout the week. Natalee's twin cousins, who were also on the trip, reported seeing van der Sloot in the hotel casino earlier that evening. Van der Sloot was a Dutch national attending the International School of Aruba. Like Natalee, he was an honor roll student, but he also liked to party, Kimberly Boekhout, a regular in van der Sloot's social circles, said in July 2005. But he only wanted to party with American tourists. He liked girls with blonde hair. The first arrests came just days after Natalee's disappearance. On June 5, 2005, two former hotel security guards, Antonius Mickey John and Abraham Jones, were arrested after van der Sloot and the Calpo brothers provided their descriptions to police. The Calpo brothers told police that they had dropped Natalee off at her hotel around 2 a.m. and saw a man in a security guard uniform approach her. Their lawyer said, "I was trying to clear my name, but they wouldn't listen because of what those boys said about us," John said. John and Jones were eventually released on June 13, 2005. Van der Sloot and the Calpo brothers were arrested on June 9, 2005. Just over a week later, a fourth man, 26-year-old party boat DJ Steve Gregory Crows, was arrested. On June 23rd, van der Sloot's father Paulus, a lawyer training to be a judge, was also arrested in connection with Natalee's disappearance. All 5 men were considered suspects. However, they had all been released from jail by September 2005, though Joran van der Sloot and the Calpos were still considered under investigation at the time. Van der Sloot and the Calpo brothers were arrested for a second time in November 2007. Based on new evidence, the 3 men were charged with involvement in the voluntary manslaughter of Natalee Holloway, or causing serious bodily harm to Natalee Holloway, resulting in her death, according to Aruban prosecutors. The prosecutors did not reveal what the new evidence was that led to the arrests. However, all 3 were released from prison in December 2007, and the charges were dismissed the same month. The period of custody did not bring the final breakthrough in this investigation, the Aruban Public Prosecutor's Office said in a statement. The statement also concluded that there was insufficient evidence to show that a crime of violence against Natalee Holloway had been committed, nor that her death has been caused by involuntary actions by either of the suspects. In March 2010, van der Sloot allegedly contacted the Holloway family, offering to reveal details about Natalee's death and the location of her remains, for a price. Van der Sloot's attempt at extorting the Holloways began in late March 2010, when he emailed Beth's attorney, John Q. Kelly, according to a federal affidavit released in June that same year. Over email, van der Sloot arranged to provide the Holloway family with information about Natalee in exchange for $250,000. Kelly involved the FBI before meeting up with van der Sloot in Aruba, where he would provide a down payment of $25,000. The FBI coordinated with Aruban law enforcement to record the exchange for prosecution. In May 2010, Kelly met with van der Sloot and gave him $10,000 cash. Beth wired another $15,000 to van der Sloot's bank account in the Netherlands. In return for the down payment, van der Sloot claimed that he threw Natalee to the ground during an altercation and that she died after hitting her head on a rock. He also led Kelly to a house where he claimed to have disposed of Natalee's body by burying her remains in the gravel under the foundation of the single-story home, the affidavit read. But the information proved once again to be false. A review of building permits revealed that the house did not exist at the time of Natalee's disappearance. Van der Sloot emailed Kelly on May 17, 2010, and admitted he lied about the location. Van der Sloot later admitted that he was seeking revenge against Natalee's parents with the alleged extortion plot. "I wanted to get back at Natalee's family," he told The Telegraph in September 2010. "Her parents have been making my life tough for 5 years." May 30, 2010, 5 years to the date of Natalee's disappearance, a 21-year-old woman named Stephanie Flores Ramirez was reported missing in Peru. According to Peruvian police, Flores, the daughter of race car driver and businessman Ricardo Flores, was last seen with van der Sloot. Then, on June 2nd, Flores' body was found bludgeoned to death in a Lima hotel room registered to van der Sloot. Van der Sloot was the prime suspect in Flores' murder and was arrested in Chile on June 3rd. The Dutchman pleaded guilty to the murder charges, claiming temporary insanity. His attorney argued that van der Sloot was suffering from extreme psychological trauma from being persecuted for Natalee's disappearance. He was sentenced to 28 years in prison in January 2012. He's tortured, tormented, and taunted Beth Holloway for 6 years and toyed with her emotions non-stop about what fate fell to her daughter with absolutely no remorse, and now seeks to use that as a basis to mitigate his prison time for brutally murdering another young woman, attorney John Q. Kelly said after his sentencing. In September 2011, Natalee's father, Dave Holloway, filed a petition in Alabama probate court requesting that Natalee be declared legally dead. "It is my firm, however painful belief that my daughter Natalee is deceased and not a runaway," he wrote in his petition. In January 2012, an Alabama judge granted Dave's request and declared Natalee legally dead. The judge ruled that the missing teen's father had met the legal presumption of death for his daughter, and no new evidence had come forward to prove she didn't die in Aruba. Natalee's mother, Beth, opposed the request, however. Beth's position is that if there's that one sliver of hope that she can carry in her heart, that Natalee might be alive somewhere, she wants to do that, her attorney said. He continued, "Her life's commitment now is working with other families with missing family members. She would lose her credibility with them if she were to give up hope for her own daughter." In June 2023, van der Sloot arrived in the U.S. to face federal charges related to his alleged extortion of the Holloway family. The charges stem from van der Sloot's attempt to extort $250,000 from Beth in 2010 in exchange for leading the family to Natalee's remains. However, the information provided by van der Sloot was determined by authorities to be false. The Peruvian government approved the extradition request in May 2023. And van der Sloot arrived in Alabama from Peru, where he is currently serving his sentence for the murder of Stephanie Flores Ramirez on June 8th. We hope that this action will enable a process that will help to bring peace to Mrs. Holloway and to her family, who are grieving in the same way that the Flores family in Peru is grieving for the loss of their daughter Stephanie. Peru's ambassador to the United States, Gustavo Mezaquadra, said in a statement, "It has been a very long and painful journey, but the persistence of many is going to pay off. Together, we are finally getting justice for Natalee," Beth said in a statement. On June 9, 2023, van der Sloot entered a plea of not guilty to the extortion and wire fraud charges. On October 18, however, van der Sloot pleaded guilty to the charges in a federal courtroom in Birmingham. He was sentenced to 20 years for the crimes. After pleading guilty to charges of extortion and wire fraud, van der Sloot admitted to killing Natalee in 2005 as part of his guilty plea, Beth's lawyer said. In her victim impact statement, Beth claimed that van der Sloot recently told law enforcement officials that Natalee declined his sexual advances on the night of her disappearance. Beth's lawyer, John Q. Kelly, said that an enraged van der Sloot smashed Natalee's head in with a cinder block and threw her body in the water. "This confession means we have finally reached the end of this never-ending nightmare," Beth said outside of the courtroom. She also said that a polygraph test taken by van der Sloot verified his statement. It is still unclear if van der Sloot will be prosecuted in the Caribbean country because the statute of limitations in Aruba is 12 years. A spokesperson for the Aruba Public Prosecutor's Office said that Natalee's case remains an open investigation and added that the question of whether van der Sloot could still face murder charges in the country cannot be answered unequivocally.